Margaret Campbell is a pathologist, a médecin légiste. And it was, when I wrote The Firemaker, it was because I didn't set out to write a thriller, because I was wanting to write a story about genetic food modification, but decided to tell the story via the investigation of a murder. I needed to create two characters. I needed to create the investigator, who was a Chinese police officer, but I also, because the story takes place in China, I needed a Western perspective on China. So I wanted the other investigator to be a Westerner. So I decided to create the character of Margaret Campbell, who is the médecin légiste from Chicago, and brought those two characters together in the Chinese setting to investigate the murder. So that was a fascinating journey for me, because I didn't know anything about pathology. I had to find an expert, a pathologist, who was prepared to give time and energy to advising me on all the stories that I wanted to write. And I was lucky to find an American pathologist called Dr. Steve Campman, who is now the medical examiner in San Diego, to advise me on all the books. I had written 6 books in the China Thrillers series, and although each book has an independent story, it follows the development of these two characters, Li Yan and Margaret Campbell, who meet in the first book for the first time and hate one another.
Yes, I remember that.
And who end up in the 6th book married and with a child. And although I have finished writing this series now, I still get emails every day from readers all around the world who want to know when the next book is coming out, because they want to know what has happened to Lee and Margaret. And so when the Paper Planes idea was put to me, it seemed obvious to me that I should take the two characters from my China series and that I should write a story involving them, not least because there are so many readers out there who want to know what has happened to Lee and Margaret. So that was interesting for me. But I also had a story which I hadn't used in the China Thrillers series, but I thought it was a good story, but it wasn't big enough to be a full novel. But the Paper Planes project was a perfect vehicle for that story because of the length of the work. So taking the two characters and the story idea I had fit perfectly with what was required for this series. In Chinese society, there is the belief that the male child is the dominant child and carries all the good luck and good fortune of the family. Not least because in terms of Chinese tradition, it is the son who, when he marries, brings the bride to live in the parental house, and the son and his wife look after his parents in their old age. And so if you have a given Chinese society where you have only one child allowed, and your child is a daughter, and she marries, then she will leave, and you, as you grow old, as parents, will have no one to look after you. So for that reason, the male child is valued much more highly than the female child. But it's also considered bad luck for a son to die before he has had the chance to marry, and that he will not go properly into the afterlife without a bride. And so I had read a story I think it was in an American magazine, about this idea of ghost marriages, where a son who has recently died is found a bride who is an unmarried girl who has recently died, and the two are symbolically married so that the son goes forward into the afterlife.